Hey everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight on the live stream. My name is Chase Oliver. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're seeing this either on my YouTube, X, or Facebook. Make sure you like and share that out. If you're seeing this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe to this video and to this channel. And yeah, if you're looking at the title of this video, it's pretty straightforward what I'm talking about. And it is about LNC Chair, who will be the chair of the Libertarian Party. The chair, Angela McArdle, has resigned. Presumably, she is going to be announcing something. According to a Mises Caucus email, she will be announcing a position working for the Trump administration at some point in the near future, which obviously you can't do that and be chair of the party at the same time. So she is resigning. Our previous vice chair, Mark Rutherford, has also resigned. It's left the board in a bit of a lurch as to figure out what to do as they go forward. And we do have two other presiding officers, a secretary and a treasurer. I've heard from different people as to who would normally be taking the gavel in that case when there's no chair or vice chair. But I have seen that our secretary, Karen Ann Harlos, has graciously said, I don't want to create this confusion. Please give the gavel to our treasurer, Bill Redpath, who's a former national chair, a very honorable guy. But we're going to need to select a new chair coming up, as well as a new vice chair. And for me, it's something as to what I want to see. What do I want to see in a chair? There's a few metrics that I want to see in the LNC chair going forward so that our party can continue to grow and succeed and actually do its job of electing libertarians up and down the ballot all across the country, which is ostensibly the job of the Libertarian Party. We are a political party. Purpose of us existing is to spread the libertarian message through elected politics. Doesn't mean we always win, but it does mean that we do try to inject ourselves into the conversation and put our principles out there in elected races as much as possible. That's what I want to see from our LNC, is that we're putting ourselves in the position to do that. Now, I have a few things that I think we need. One is true transparency in the party at our national level with our national committee. I think a lot of critics of the current LNC have said that too many things have happened in executive session, the removal of discourse and debate from the public email list, making that just ostensibly a bulletin board to post where meetings are going to be occurring, or when rather, and votes that are occurring. I think we actually do need to see the discourse that our LNC members are having. And I think we do need to see full transparency for the party, considering there's been a much erosion of trust, because in addition to possibly seeking a job within the Trump administration, there are also real charges of impropriety from the former chair regarding money that was moved into accounts that were not, that may have potentially been conflicts of interest that were not disclosed. Those things also need to be investigated as part of transparency. Members need to see that our Libertarian National Committee is not allowing for impropriety to happen. And to do that, there needs to be a full and thorough investigation of any wrongdoing. Oh, there's my cat running down behind here. So that is what I want to see, is transparency. Secondly, I want to see professionalism. Professionalism, some people have gotten it confused when I say these things. They think that I need to see everybody, everything about, being in a suit and tie, and that professionalism is like, you have to be very stuffy. What I want to see is professionalism in terms of treating each other with common respect on the board, not throwing petty barbs or attacking each other, but really running the board as you would if it were a corporate board or a nonprofit board, because ostensibly that's kind of what you are. And so I think a lot of the barbs being thrown back and forth, both on social media and public, is not becoming of a board that is supposed to represent the party of principle. And I think we need to see something better than that. And again, that doesn't mean you have to wear a suit and tie, though. I think, I think a lot of people who do wear suit and ties purport themselves to be quite professional. But a lot of people who wear suit and ties are also completely unprofessional, buffoons who, just because you can wear a necktie doesn't mean you know how to be a professional in a corporate setting or in a nonprofit setting. So professionalism, transparency. I want to see ethics. I want to see ethics displayed by the board. I want to see ourselves really rise to the standard of, if we don't believe government should do things and that we can govern ourselves, we should take those same principles and govern ourselves as a national party in an ethical manner. We should not have to be worrying about internal investigations over and over again each time we have a new chair. We should not have to be feeling like our Libertarian National Committee is kind of a political Game of Thrones. And so for me, I think it's important for us to see ethics as well. And I want to see ethical people in all positions at the board. And lastly, I think is a track record. Like, what have you done? What have you done outside of the Libertarian National Committee? Have you run a state affiliate well? Have you been a very successful candidate? Have you put together a national organization or a nonprofit? What have you done? So that way we can judge how well we think you're going to work with and operate within the Libertarian National Committee. I think those are important factors as well. So that's the question. And the question has come up, will I be running for LNC chair? Well, I want to speak, before I answer that question, I want to speak about a couple of people who have potentially talked about running for chair. The outgoing chair, who again is under investigation, or should be. It looks like there was an investigation committee being formed and voted on right before she resigned. So I think now we need to investigate the actions of the prior chair. We need to make a new motion to change that. But this outgoing chair, Chair McCardle, who's going to be working with the Trump administration, it seems like, wants us to replace with Michael Heiss. Michael Heiss is the former chair of the Mises Caucus within the Libertarian Party. In fact, his X handle is still at Mises Chair. He has never changed that. And he left to run the Rechtenwald campaign, which he was one of my primary opponents. He was the final primary opponent that I defeated in the last rounds of voting. And after that, he had taken a paid position within the party. But I don't think there's any way that you could, honestly say that Michael Heiss has not helped contribute to much of the infighting we've seen. And that's what I think a lot of members want to see us getting away from. We've seen lots of infighting that's been very destructive to our party. Some is legit criticism from one side or the other, but much of it is kind of territorialism and really using division as a means to seize power or seize relevance within the party, which has been a very much a tactic of monetizing the hate, and these kinds of things that have allowed for Michael Heiss to grow up into the caucus and allow for the Mises Caucus to take over the party in 2022 in Reno. And he kind of handpicked that group, as the leader of the caucus that ran the board in 2022. And since that time, we have seen a downslide of members and donations because good members who did not agree with one caucus winning the board, wanted to have their voices heard, were quickly discounted and shoved out. I don't want to see people shoved out of the party. I think we need to have a board of the Libertarian Party that represents broadly the entire Libertarian Party. But what I've heard from members in the last few days, as I've kind of, as I've gone around and examined people, what they want for chair, what they want to see. The one thing I hear from members is, I want somebody who's separated from this infighting. I want somebody who is not part of this division that we've seen in the party. And I just don't think there's a way, honestly, those members could be satisfied if Michael Heiss became chair, because it would be a continuation, no matter which side of the divide you're on. I think everybody could concur that there would be a continuation of this infighting that we've been seeing, and that so many members who are not aligned with any caucus, who don't really closely pay attention to national, who are just trying to do good work in their state for liberty or run good campaigns, they have seen this erosion of leadership at the top due to this division. They have seen this erosion of donors and erosion of members, and they don't want to see us continuing that course. They want us to change course. And so Michael Heiss, I don't think would be the best choice for those libertarians who want to see a change of course and an ending to this division. Now, there's another person who's thrown his hat potentially into the ring, and that is Justin Amash, former congressman. He's the only libertarian to ever serve in the United States Congress. He has long been even when as a Republican, he was very much a libertarian-minded Republican, someone who's always spoken about the abuses of government, the lack of transparency in Congress and in leadership at the White House. And he is somebody who has years of experience, practical experience, in the political arena in a way that I would say no one, uh, that no one else who has offered to do it, or really that I can think of, has that relevant experience in the political arena. And when it comes to knocking off those metrics that I mentioned earlier, professionalism, I do believe that Justin Amash carries himself quite professionally. And again, that's not about wearing a suit and tie, but it's about being able to advocate our principles in a way that is reasoned, logical, that can appeal to voters, that can be plainly spoken and is not edgelordy for being edgy's sake, right? So I think he hits that. I believe he is an ethical person. I've never met a person who worked with him in the House or who worked with him in any of his organizations or anything that have ever said he's not an ethical person. I would wager even those who disagree with him on many topics would wager or would say rather that they can disagree with him in good faith. And as far as transparency, he is one of the people who, as a congressperson, most fiercely advocated for a transparent process in the United States House. He opposed bills being dropped in your lap that are hundreds of pages long and being told you need to vote on this tomorrow. He believed in true and forthright debate, the amendment process, deliberation in the House, which was sorely lacking in much of the House while he was there. And he was one of its greatest critics. And I do believe he would want to bring that spirit of transparency and open debate and discourse. Again, even if you disagree with him, it can be done in good faith, so long as it's done in the light of day. And so to that, and then having a track record, of course, being a former member of Congress and having the relationships in DC that many people could have. Now, I do think that he hits all of those metrics. Now, I see a lot of comments here that folks are putting. I'd rather see Amash. Let me see that. I'd rather have Amash as a candidate and you as a party chair. Well, the truth is, we'll talk about that in just a minute. But I do think Amash is a lifetime Libertarian Party member. He is indeed. And he, I looked up Amash, and it only turns out he won a seat in Congress because of his affiliation. Yes, he did win as a Republican, but later switched parties and did serve in Congress as a Libertarian. This is true. If another Libertarian were elected to Congress, they would be the first elected member of Congress as a Libertarian. But he served in Congress as a Libertarian. I think that's pretty darn important for the party in terms of relevancy, being the highest elected official in terms of relevancy that we've ever had in our party. You are welcome to run for anything here in Kentucky. That's what he said. That is what Kami said. You're welcome to run for anything here in Kentucky. Well, I love Kentucky. I loved going to the fancy farm picnic out there in rural Kentucky and getting to watch elected leaders razz each other. It's kind of a miniature roast. It was very enjoyable. Great event out there. I enjoyed Kentucky a lot. Some good folks up there in Kentucky. Would a person on the LNC be the person to be chair till 2026? I don't think we actually need to leave somebody who's currently on the LNC to be chair through 2026. I think we need the change now. And I think if we can give enough of a runway, considering, if someone was to throw their hat in the ring and be elected chair, they would have a good time to really get in place and make a case for why they would want to be that. There's an op-ed coming out from the Greens and Libertarians. Jill Stein said there's an op-ed. Yes, there is. It will be coming out soon. Keep on the lookout for that. I think the final touches have been made. We will see. But that's going to be happening at some point. Let's see. Where are we at? Well, but Paul never sold out his principles, though he did switch to Republican and back. Yeah, well, this is kind of the same thing with Justin Amash. He might have switched one party and back, but that's what's happened. Okay, so those are a little bit of the comments that I've been seeing popping up as I've been talking for the last little bit here. But I'm not going to leave you in any more suspense, you guys. I am not running for LNC chair. I will not be running for LNC chair for a few reasons. And I will speak to those reasons and then speak to who I think would be a good choice after I finish that. First and foremost, I have spent the last 3 years running as a candidate. You see these signs behind me here from my last few campaigns. I have spent 3 years on the road working hard every day for the Libertarian Party as a candidate. And I did it the last 2 years running for president while stepping away from full-time work. And that depletes your savings and makes it where you don't really have stability. And you know, I pushed through there through November, and I was like, I will get a job right after November. I'll be fine, right? As you know, but the job market's tough towards the end of the year, so I had to wait a little bit. But I have a new job now. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying doing something that is not constantly having me get on an airplane. I'm enjoying sleeping in the same bed each night. But let's just say I'm taking some time for me. I have taken 3 years to run as a candidate, and it's been the honor of my life to run for United States Senate and to run for the presidential nomination and then as the candidate for president with the Libertarian Party. But I do need to take a little bit of time to recoup my savings, recoup my sanity a little bit, regain some sleep, start eating a little bit better, getting back into shape. So I am going to take some time away from being a candidate or running for inter-party office, I think. Maybe if something locally happens, like if we can get an affiliate up and running in my local area, or if there's a need for me to be on maybe my state's XCOM, like something that doesn't require me to do a lot of traveling, that's a possibility. But really, national party leadership is not something that's in my in front of me right now. Maybe it is one day. You know, I'm still young. I'm still younger than JD Vance, and I'll hold on to that. But no, in all seriousness, there's plenty of time for me to run for inter-party office or perhaps be a candidate again in the future. But what I'm going to do is, stay put, working hard at my own life, reconnecting and getting a little bit more time with my family that I missed out in these last 2 years, and trust that there are other good libertarians. You know, if I thought I was the only person who could do it, it really wouldn't be a party worth leading, because there's plenty of other fine libertarians that can serve on the Libertarian National Committee and that can serve as chair. That being said, I do think this is one more kind of ding on Mr. Heiss running, because after the nomination, process happened where I won the nomination. He very publicly said that he needed to get back into regular working life, that he needed to not be volunteering some of his time for politics, and needed to get back into something that allowed him to earn a paycheck. And I get that. I totally do. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now. This is a reason why I would not be running for chair or for any other office right now. And I hope he takes the same advice and continues to focus on that for a while. I don't think we need to have a chair who is worried about their finances, because it is a position that takes a lot of your time, requires a lot of effort, and is an unpaid position. And so as much as I can, as much as my heart's with the working class, I am working class. I don't have time or effort or money right now to be able to devote enough of my time to be a chair. And I don't think Mr. Heiss does either. And I think, members want to see somebody who can do this job and not have to worry about potential impropriety that we just saw out of the last chair. And so I think that's a real concern that members have. And I know that, Congressman Amash is comfortable in his life. He is not hurting. He's doing quite well for himself and could take the time to serve our party and do the job of being chair. So out of those two, I have to say, I believe Justin Amash is the best choice, not just because I think he has the ability to do the job without, worrying about the financial stress of that job, but I also believe he carries the professionalism, the ethics, the transparency, and has the track record that we need to see going forward. And if it's about relevancy, which we hear that term thrown about a lot, relevancy, is the Libertarian Party relevant? What are you doing to be relevant? I think having a former member of Congress at the helm of our national committee is a great way to show our relevancy. It's a great way to show our seriousness to actually getting involved in the political process. And I also think that there's an added bonus of Justin Amash has run successful campaigns for Congress, which is something that I think we have not done very often in in the Libertarian Party. And I do think that there's a lot of things that we can learn from a Chairman Amash, that candidates can learn, and we can run better campaigns. I also think that if there's lobbying that's needed in Washington, D.C., it does help to have somebody who knows some of the people in those rooms, who can go into those rooms and argue the libertarian position, as he did as a member of Congress, without fear. And also with those relationships in place that can allow us to move things forward. Wouldn't we like to see Congressman Amash, as the leader of the LNC, writing a really awesome bill that can then be lobbied through Congress, and we can see it voted on and signed into law one day? That's a goal. I think that's a realistic goal. And we can say that's a libertarian bill that became a libertarian law that helped people free themselves, that helped reduce the state, that helped fix a problem that the state was causing, right? And I think that that's a worthy goal, and I think that's something we can do with a leader like Amash as our chair. So the long and short of it is this: I will not be running for anything in the near future. I am going to continue to be involved in the state and national party as a lifetime member of the national party, as a devoted member of the State Libertarian Party of Georgia. I'm going to continue to find projects and areas where my voice can be lent to help put libertarian policy or libertarian stories or libertarian positions out into the atmosphere. And that's what I'm going to continue to do as now a former candidate for president, and think about that. But honestly, if there are people who want to see me at their convention, I would love to still travel from time to time and meet libertarians at their state conventions. I would love to be a speaker there, to hear your thoughts on what we need to do moving forward as a party. I welcome that discourse. I welcome those conversations. But thank you so much for taking the time to watch this live stream. I don't know if any of you have any questions. If I see any pop up in the next couple of minutes, I'll try to answer them. But in the meantime, I want us to think about, what do we want to see going forward in our national politics? What we have seen is we've seen a handful of good things coming out of the last 10 days. That's what we've had in the Trump administration. We still have 3 years and 355 days. But out of the last 10 days, we've seen a handful of good things. Ross Ulbricht being freed is a good thing. Commitment to not having CBDCs is a good thing. There's a few others. But we've also seen some really bad things. And I think we libertarians need to be calling the balls and strikes as we see it. I have not seen any messaging opposing detaining immigrants in Gitmo. Gitmo is something that should be shut down. This should be a very easy thing for libertarians to advocate. We've been advocating it since that prison was open. It is a place that is a stain upon liberty and human rights. It should embarrass us as Americans that Gitmo is open and operating still in the year 2025. And the fact that it is now about to be made into a detention center for up to 30,000 immigrants, that is very potentially worrying. And we need to speak up on that. I think we need to be speaking up on the fact that, today's press conference on the DC plane crash was absolutely embarrassing. DEI did not cause that plane crash. Neither did the spending freezes, which is what the Democrats are trying to run with right now. But the truth is accidents happen. We need to investigate what happened there. But for a leader of the nation to go out on television without all the facts, without all of the information, and to just start casting blame is very irresponsible. And it is, it's unpresidential, but it is. It's very unpresidential. It was completely the wrong tone and tenor that the people, 67 people are now dead, I believe is the number. And it's not right to those souls to have this become in some sort of political hot potato. That's a little embarrassing. How do I feel about the spending freezes? I saw that question earlier. What are my thoughts about Trump's funding freezes? Well, I'm a libertarian. And I want to see the size and scope of government reduced. And I argued when I was running for president that one of the things you can't do, even if you were to be elected as a libertarian, is flip things off like a light switch. Because if you do, you cause kind of chaos. And so this stopping everything under review, I do think has caused more chaos, and ultimately it's going to backfire. It's going to lead to people not wanting to see funding cut. It's not going to want to see a reduction in spending because people are not going to trust somebody who did something so haphazardly with that. And so as somebody who wants to see government reduced, I think doing so in this manner has now shocked the public and is going to lead to the exact opposite. And that is my fear there. And so I don't think it was the right tactic to take. And that is why I see a problem there. Now, these are temporary freezes. This is to review all spending. But what I want to see is actually passing a budget, working with Congress to reduce spending that way, and not just cutting things out that you don't like because it's too woke or whatever. Like that is going to get you cuts in the fringes. It's going to get little things here and there cut, a program here, a program there. But what it's not going to do is create a governing philosophy that says we need to overall reduce the size and scope of government. And in fact, I think much of the spending that will get frozen on things that Trump does not like, he will then direct those departments to put the spending into other programs and other things that he does like. I don't think it's going to lead to an overall reduction of government, sadly enough. So that's my opinion on the whole thing. If I were to guess about the confirmation hearings that I'm hearing right now, I do honestly think that you're going to see major opposition to both Patel and Gabbard. RFK, there's already some, but I think RFK might skim through with a 50-50 vote and the vice president tie-breaking that vote. And so if I was to guess, I would say at least one of those three will probably be blocked ultimately before they get going. So that would be my guess, but I could be wrong. I thought Hegseth was going to go down, but he ended up winning due to the tiebreaker. So that could be the same thing that happens with RFK or Patel or Gabbard. But I would say those are probably the three most difficult cabinet positions that Trump's, his nominees are facing in the Senate. I think he's going to pretty much get through. I think Linda McMahon will skim right through. We've already seen Duffy and Besson get through. Rubio, of course, he's in the Senate, so all his Senate buddies, 99-0 or whatever, voted for him. And so I think what we're going to see is real trouble with these three. And I want to see what happens there. I'm going to be paying attention. I actually have to watch some of these hearings over because I was working today, so I didn't get to watch them. But I will be spending the evening, as all very cool people do, watching congressional testimony because that's what all the cool kids do these days. But in the meantime, I didn't really see any questions popping up, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go for tonight. But I hope you've enjoyed this live stream. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you are following along on X, make sure you're sharing this content out so more people can see it. Same if you're on Meta, if you're seeing this on Facebook, make sure you're liking this page, sharing this page out so more and more people can hear these live streams and hear the libertarian opinion on a whole host of topics from me. Anyway, I hope you have a great night. Peace, love, and liberty to each and every one of you. And you'll be seeing from me soon. Talk to you later.